everyone. This video has been a long time coming. I'm super excited to finally have a chance to do it. I'm going to be talking everything about elite fast TMs in Pokemon Go. A lot of people mentioned maybe doing like a video like this or some sort of a record to help beginner and like intermediate players kind of track and kind of know what fast moves are actually worth elite TMing and which ones to avoid, especially ones that are not like worth it at all. A lot of people probably didn't know this. There's actually 56 Pokemon in Pokemon Go right now that have access to a legacy or an elite fast TM move. As you can see on the screen, I got about 10 that say yay, 3 that are yay and nay, and 37 that are straight up nays with a sad face. I'm going to be mostly focusing on the 10 yays. The 3 yay nay ones are kind of the more interesting ones, some you might not expect, and I'm going to be kind of covering why they are yay and nay. And then we're going to have a big kind of finale of all the Pokemon that are all the nays. There are a couple in there that you might think, why are they there? And I will explain those as we get there. So let's jump into the first Pokemon and let's go. All right, so the first Pokemon I want to talk about here is Dewgong. Ice Shard is its elite fast move, and it's pretty much a necessity for Go Battle League. I got the PvP poke damage energy per second and turn speed below. As you can see, Ice Shard is a pretty solid move, and like I said, it's pretty much required. It's considered an OG legacy move, unless you played way back in the day, 2016. You pretty much have to elite TM it in order to get the move, or wait for a special event where you can evolve it and get the move, which has happened. The next Pokemon I want to talk about here in the top 10 is Lapras. Its elite fast move is also Ice Shard. Ice Shard I would consider is the best elite fast move in the game. Powder Snow is the only other ice move that's really kind of comparable, but most of the time it's not an elite move. So in this case, Ice Shard is pretty much the best elite fast move for ice types. Yeah, Legacy Lapras here. You can play Lapras with Water Gun for some scenarios if you want permanent as a water attacker, but for the best energy gain and damage, Ice Shard is the way to go on Lapras, and is usually recommended for both Great League and Ultra League for Lapras. The next Pokemon here I want to talk about is another OG, Seaking with Poison Jab. Seaking's kind of been forced out of the not forced out, but not really in huge meta in Great League right now. It does come up from time to time in Sylph Cups. So if you are going to have a Seaking as part of your Great League / Sylph repertoire, I would highly recommend having it with Poison Jab, as it's its best viable move and is recommended by PvP Poke for most situations. Going over to here, we got Zapdos. This is one of the few legendaries I'm actually going to be talking about. And Zapdos with Thundershock as a fast move is its elite signature move, and is pretty much required if you want to use it in either Great League and also in PvE, just for the high energy production of Thundershock. It's one of the few 4.5 energy per turn moves on a 2-turn cycle, with damage of about average for these fast energy moves, about 2.16 there per turn for damage. But yeah, Thundershock pretty much a requirement for Zapdos in this situation. Next one up we got is Smackdown T-Tar. This is a Community Day move. T-Tar was one of the first Community Day Pokemon, and Smackdown is still pretty much its recommended move in both Go Battle League and, of course, in PvE as a rock attacker with Stone Edge. Very, very, very high damage at 4.8 on 3 turns with 2.67 energy per turn. Very strong here. Its only other real viable fast move is Bite, and Bite, as we know, is a very high damage but very low energy gaining move. So for and unless you're using it as a dark attacking T-Tar with Crunch Bite in PvE only, Smackdown is definitely the way to go with Tyranitar. Um, Another community day fast move here we have is Talonflame with Incinerate. This Pokemon took over Go Battle League since it came in. It's been very, very strong. It's been top 20, top 10 in pretty much Ultra League and Great League in a very, very powerful move. It's a very slow attack, but it is very, very powerful. 3.6 damage per turn with a 5-turn speed with 4 energy per turn. Talonflame pretty much have to run Incinerate for it to be viable, and it's what's recommended by both PvP Poke and most other sources. Now moving along, we have our buddy Walrein. Now Walrein recently in this last season update did get a nerf in Season 12, Season of Light update to its main charge move, Icicle Spear, which is now acquires a little bit more energy. However, Powder Snow, this is another Pokemon like Lapras that has double legacy moves. Powder Snow for the fast move, and is pretty much, again, a requirement for Walrein to be viable in both Great League and Ultra League, and even in Master League as an ice attacker. And this was a community move for Field Community that we had earlier this year. So if you definitely want this move as well. So this is another move you definitely want to Elite TM if you miss on the communities, or wait for an event where you can evolve it. Moving along here, a lot of these moves are going to be very PvP oriented. We have Pidgeot with Gust, another high damage, slow turn move, another 4.8 damage per turn, energy of 3 energy per turn, but on a 4 turn, so not quite as slow as Incinerate, but definitely a very slow animation move, but hits very, very hard and gains solid energy as well for the time. Moving along, we had Staraptor. Staraptor did get Gust. It's the recommended move for Go Battle League in all sets. Staraptor, unfortunately, I was really hoping this was going to have Sky Attack as its community move, not Gust, but that's what they went with. This one is getting a little more closer to the yay nay. I still put it as a straight yay because its other options overall weren't as highly recommended by PvP Poke and other sources, and it is a community move, but it definitely is closer. You could play Staraptor without it in maybe like a PvE situation, but for PvP it is recommended with Gust. So that's going to wrap up the 10 Pokemon that are straight yays. I'm going to be going into the yay, nay, and this is where we're going to get a little more discussion, a little more interesting, where it kind of depends on certain situations for the next moves, and let's get into that right now. All right, so we're going to get into the yays and nays. The first one I want to talk about is a big one. It's a fan favorite. It's Charizard. And Charizard is actually a very, very interesting one that we're going to talk about here, because Charizard actually has 3 elite fast moves. It has its Community Day fast move of Dragon's Breath, and then it has some OG moves. It has Wing Attack as another one, and has another really OG one. I don't understand why this is still an elite fast move of Ember. Ember, it's an okay move, but I think it's just maybe it's like a legacy collector's rarity, and it's just kind of stayed there. But I really don't feel like it's definitely not worth an elite TM, and it's actually on one of the big 37A moves is Ember. Fire Spin is definitely Charizard's overall probably best move as a fire attacker. It's its recommended move in Great League. It gains very, very good energy. It does good damage and has good speed. So, and Fire Spin is definitely a very strong fire move. Wing Attack is kind of a spicy play for Charizard. You do see it occasionally in both Great League and Ultra League, trying to like utilize Charizard's typing as a flying typing and trying to attack, against use its flying move against probably more like fighting types. Because I would still use fire against grass on Charizard, but yeah, so Wing Attack, Wing Attack is definitely probably the best. Outside of maybe the heavier hitting Gust, the best flying fast moving. It's the same stats as Counter, and Counter is like the number one overall for damage and attack speed as it's energy and attack speed as Counter. So Wing Attack is definitely a viable move. It's spicier move, but in Ultra League, Dragon Breath is definitely usually recommended actually more on Charizard. I think to counter a lot of the other things like Giratina, some of the other Dragon picks that appear in Ultra League more outside of Great League. But yeah, very, 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 very strong Pokemon. Fan favorite, obviously Charizard. His big move Blast Burn, which we're not going to talk too much about, as his elite his elite charge move. But yeah, Dragon Breath definitely is a yay. It is viable as it's also very, very strong as Megas. Now, one of the things we got to talk about here is Charizard also does have two Mega forms, Y and X. The X being the Dragon form of Charizard, and Y being basically super regular Charizard as Flying Fire. The Dragon Breath definitely takes impact on his X form with Dragon Claw, using it as a Dragon Mega, where as the flying aspect for the flying for Y and the fire, I would definitely go Fire Spin, Blast Burn on the Mega side in the PvE, and even also sometimes when it's viable in Master League when they opened up only once for Master League Megas. But if they ever do it again, Fire Spin, Blast Burn, definitely I think the way to go there on Charizard. So yeah, Charizard, very, very interesting Pokemon. It's one of the few Pokemon that have these many elite fast moves. But I think Dragon Breath definitely is the number one for the yay. The Wing Attack is kind of a spicy pick if you have a lot of elite fast moves and you kind of just want to burn and get rid of one, and you want to have maybe it would be a good if you already have a Dragon Breath Charizard for like Ultra League, and you kind of just want to have a second Charizard with good stats, TM it to Wing Attack, have it as like a backup as an Ultra one you can kind of like sub in. I wouldn't recommend using elite fast TMs unless you're really just like buying them all the time to kind of switch back a single move on a single Pokemon. But if you want to have one is Wing Attack, one is Dragon's Breath, that's definitely totally legit and fair enough to do. So yeah, Charizard, Dragon Breath is a yay for his elite fast move, and then the Wing Attack is yay nay. Fire Spin up there in the corner, as you can see, is his primary non-elite fast move. Next one I want to talk about is Celebi with Magical Leaf. Overall, it's going to be a yay. Very, very solid move here. Good damage at 4 damage per turn. 3.33 energy per turn on a 3-turn move. Finally giving Celebi a grass fast move. Made it much more spicy in some PvP situations in Great League and Ultra League. And I've even seen it a little bit spicy in Master League if people like level 50 in a Celebi. Very strong move. Confusion is in there because in certain metas in both Great League and even Ultra League, Confusion actually becomes more recommended because of Celebi's psychic typing as well as grass. Sometimes Confusion comes in, but overall, Magic Leaf is definitely still a yay. But I put it in the yay nay category just because in some situations, Confusion still is a viable move. And especially now that we've had multiple events where we all have multiple Celebis and multiple shiny Celebis now, you could definitely have one with Magical Leaf and one with Confusion. Both of those are available. So that's why Celebi is in the yay nay. Um, Another one here that is in the yay nay is Rosarade with Bullet Seed. Um, Bullet Seed is a very, very strong, fast energy gaining grass move. 2 damage per turn, 4.33 energy per turn on a 3-turn speed. Bullet Seed makes Roserade very spammy. Usually recommended more here in Great League for Bullet Seed. As a grass attacker in the higher end things like in PvE, there are stronger options like Venusaur, Mega Venusaur, and now that we have things like Kartana, and there's some other Pokemon. I'm not going to list all of them, but as a grass attacker, it's got a very high attack set. It is good, but Roserade definitely finds its prime spot as a poison attacker, and that's why it's in the yay nay, because Poison Jab is definitely a very, very strong move. It's a non-elite move. Poison Jab is actually usually recommended as overall by PvP poke for Ultra League, and is also viable quite often in some Great League metas and self metas as well. So it's a yay nay just because it's not 100% required, a necessity for you to have it, especially also in the PvE rating level. Roserade as a poison attacker is like up, like I think the new Ultra Beast might have booted out of number 1 or 2, but yeah, Roserade is still very, very strong in your poison teams for rating, which don't come off too often, but when they do, they are very important. Next one on the list for the yay nay club is Alakazam with counter. This has been originally it was a nay mostly for me. However, with the mega change, and now recently PvP Poke is now recommending counter in both Ultra League and Ultra League and Great League. Sorry, on as overall move on Alakazam over both Confusion and Psy-Cut. As you can see, counter is very, very high damage at 4.8 damage per turn, 3.5 energy per turn on a 2-turn speed. Counter is argued the best overall fast move in the game. Very, very strong move here. So on this, and this is a Community Day move for Alakazam. And the reason is overall it is a yay. A couple interesting things I want to point out. Now that we have Mega Alakazam, if you actually look at the stats on this, Mega Alakazam with counter is almost goes toe to toe with Machamp, which is pretty crazy for being a non-fighting Pokemon as a fighter, and it's only in the Mega form because of that massive boost that Mega gives to damage. Psy-Cut probably overall still the best move here for the Mega, especially if you want that high energy gain to fire off lots and lots of charge moves as a Mega for rating. Confusion is also still a viable move here on Alakazam, especially if you like that higher fast move damage pressure for both PvP and PvE. Also a viable option. So overall it is a yay, but because there's so many other options that are not even elite fast move but regular moves on Alakazam, I put it in the yay nay category because I wanted to discuss it a little more. Now we're going to switch over to kind of the straight up nays, and a few of these are kind of interesting. So let's take a look at them. All right, so for our first nay, it's going to be a real recent Community Day with Alolan Geodude with Rollout. Rollout, when it first came out, Rollout actually recently just got a debuff going into this season, the season 12 Go Battle League and Season of Light. Originally, when Rollout was released, it had the same energy per turn and speed as like Mudshot and Psystrike, and Psystrike and Psycut and Thundershock, etc. It's been nerfed a little bit now. It's now down to Bullet speed and Snarl speed at 4.33 at 3 turns. Very low, and this right here is really the killer on this move and why it doesn't really get, it's gone to an A. The damage per turn on this move is just ridiculously slow at 1.6. It's just no fast move pressure in PvP and PvE. It's just a very, very low damage move. And Volt Switch is pretty much recommended in all formats of this for this Pokemon overall, like in PvE and PvP for Great League and Ultra League. Volt Switch, very, very high energy gaining move, but also very, very strong fast move pressure, high damage move. Volt Switch just beats out Rollout here. This move has definitely been a bit disappointing to me. I was super excited when Rollout was released because I always thought that Rock needed a faster energy gaining option over SmackDown, but the damage on this one just isn't really there, and unfortunately Rollout is an A. It did get added to some other Pokemon, but it's not an elite fast move on those Pokemon. So, but for a Community Day move, an elite fast move on a Alolan Golem, it's gonna be overall an A. If you played the Community Day, great. You probably have the move on at least one Pokemon. There's probably some people out there that have the Pokemon that can trade it to you. I wouldn't be going out of my way to spend your elite fast TMs unless you literally just have tons of them to burn for this move. The next one here is a pretty spicy nay. It's gonna be Shiftry on Bullet Seed. Which is interesting because Bullet Seed and Snarl have the exact same energy per turn and turn speed at 4.33 3 turns. The reason why it's a nay is simply just because basically by PvP poke in both Great League and Ultra League, Snarl is just the recommended move and as a prime, keeping Shiftry as a dark primary attacking Pokemon. Bullet Seed now isn't, I wouldn't say it's a complete waste. Where Bullet Seed would be viable is if you want to have it, and it just depends on your play style and what you are and the rest of your team composition. If you want it as a grass attack primary to cover things like Swampert, for example, with Bullet Seed, Leaf Blade, that is definitely a viable option. But I just put it in the nay category just because across the board, it's pretty much Snarl basically beats it out, and Snarl has the exact same stats as far as energy and attack speed go. So yeah, Bullet Seed, another Community Day move, a nay. And then rounding up kind of the nays I really want to talk about here are these three here. Weeping Bell, Leafeon, and Venomoth. And the reason why on Weeping Bell it's Bullet Seed is a nay is just because overall I think Razor Leaf is the better option here, especially if you want to run, double Razor Leaf attackers or even triple Razor Leaf attackers, especially a Shadow Razor Leaf. I think a Razor Leaf damage is definitely the best options. Weeping Bell doesn't really have as many charge moves that you really want the fast energy to get to. So overall, and Razor Leaf is just rated higher on PvP Poke and other sites. Leafeon, Bullet Seed, I'd say like realistically, Leafeon's the mono type EV evolutions have pretty much except for Umbreon and Sylveon are basically done in Go Battle League. And now that Quick Attack has had its boost, PvP Poke is actually recommending Quick Attack on this Pokemon now as its fast move. And otherwise, as like unless you really needed even as a starter, like grass attacker for like raid teams, for a beginner player, I wouldn't recommend this move because there's just way better options to put your elite fast TMs into over this Pokemon. Razor Leaf and Leaf Blade are gonna get it done in your early rating levels before you until you build up stronger grass Pokemon for your raid teams. It's just gonna get it done if you're using Leafeon as a raid Pokemon. So it's just a nay. It's not worth it for the cost of the TM. Bug Bite here is kind of the only real yay nay out of this one. Just because Infestation is rated higher on it for PvE, or even like Confusion is sometimes more meta relevant. Bug Bite is like an OG kind of legacy move, and there were a lot of things back in the day about being able to take down Executor raids with double super effective Bug Bite damage and soloing Executors back in the day with Bug Bite Venomoth as kind of an OG thing here. So that's kind of the only position where this one is a yay nay, but it's still overall nay because nowadays there's just better options, and there's more important things to use your TMs on first than, say, getting yourself a Bug Bite Venomoth, just because, especially for PvE, Infestation and Confusion are probably are your better ways to go with this Pokemon. Infestation being number one, and it's a non-elite move. So yeah, that's going to kind of wrap up the yay nays for the main segment. Going into now, we're going to take a look, and that's only, the top, 13, 14 Pokemon here. And what about the remaining 56? The other half of the remaining like 37 Pokemon. Here they all are. This took me quite a while to build this little collage, but yeah, all these Pokemon here all technically do have elite fast moves. I'm not going to list what they all are. I will leave that up to you guys and the Googles. A couple interesting ones here that I'm going to mention, like, because you see our buddy Charizard down there. I kind of already talked about that one with Ember. That's why it's in there, because Ember is just not worth the elite fast TM. And then yeah, there's some other really, like, all the Gengar evolutions. Haunter, Ghastly, Gengar. Lick is still his elite fast move, but unfortunately Shadow Claw just beats it out for both energy and damage in all formats, PvE and PvP. So unfortunately Gengar's signature move just isn't worth the TM spot. But yeah, so we have quite a few other really interesting Pokemon in here. I'll kind of let you guys kind of look them up. I might post the list of these moves in the comments of this YouTube video down below, but I'm not going to list them all off. I hope you guys found this video informative and interesting. I know I did, going through kind of all the different Pokemon. There's a lot of Pokemon out there. I was like, I had no idea they had elite fast moves. I had no idea what their elite fast moves were, and when I saw them, I was like, whoa, really? Why is that an elite fast? Why is that an elite move? Kind of closing thoughts here, and this is kind of difference of opinion. I really honestly think that a lot of these elite moves should just be downgraded to regular TMable moves. The main reason why I get counter argued on this is because of the OG players back when the game first came out, especially the legacy move collectors, would be disgruntled, to say it nicely, because they've spent a lot of time trading and collecting these Pokemon when they were first released with these legacy moves. So that's I think that's the only reason why Niantic doesn't just fully release a lot of these Pokemon as regular TMable moves. At the same time, the moves on these Pokemon aren't worth the cost of it, and I wouldn't spend them on it, and unless you decide to burn an elite TM on it, you're not going to get the move. So it's kind of like a non-issue, but I just find it just kind of interesting how 56 Pokemon have elite fast moves, but only barely a quarter of them are actually viable, and it kind of just brings in the whole value of like elite fast moves and the value of elite fast TMs in the game and what Niantic puts on them, I guess, is the other thing I'm really looking at. So yeah, very interesting. Had a lot of fun making this video. Hope you guys found it very informative. I definitely did. I learned quite a few things about some of these Pokemon that have really interesting moves. I was like, why is that an elite move? But there you go. So yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Until then, be safe, have fun, catch lots of Pokemon, and I'll see you all later. Bye for now, guys.